Hey everybody, it's PDubs, and let me tell you a story. Okay dude, so I was recently poking around on the internet and I came across an article talking about that Taito is going to be releasing another compilation of arcade games on the Nintendo Switch. This compilation package is going to be called Taito Milestones 2. It's going to have 10 games and 10 classic arcade games. Retails for $39.99 as of today. Pre-orders are available now. I'll have a link for the Amazon link to pre-order it in the video description below if you're interested in pre-ordering it with it shipping in September. However, I realized something. I've never checked out Taito Milestones 1. So I went and I looked on Amazon, and sure enough, right now, guys, it is on sale for $19.99 on Amazon to get a physical copy of the game, which I went ahead and I placed my order. And it does have a cool little booklet inside of it, so for those of you who like to collect booklets for games, it does have a booklet with all the different, games and how to play, like controller settings. So I picked this up because this also has 10 Taito games included on it, and some of your favorites, including Kicks, Space Seeker, Alpine Ski, Frontline, Wild Western, Chack and Pop, Elevator Action, The Fairyland Story, Halley's Comet, and the Ninja Warriors. What interested me about this was, of course, is because these are some classic arcade games that I could play on the Nintendo Switch, as well as maybe I can play these on an Arcade1Up cabinet. And if there's one thing that I absolutely love doing is finding more and more ways to play arcade games on the arcade machines in my home. And if you have an Arcade1Up that's been modded with the Intec Gaming Control Panel like I do, you can get these games up and running and have a pretty good experience. Now, one thing you will need to do is hit the start button or the plus button when you launch a game, and you'll have to do this for each individual game. Go down to the display settings and go down to the display size and go ahead and fill the screen. That way you can get this in the proper aspect ratio. As you can see here, Elevator Action is not stretched and it's taking up the full Arcade1Up monitor screen, and it looks great and is super fun to play. When it comes to the horizontal games on this compilation, you're going to want to stretch the screen or stretch the display to fit the entire screen, because these games are typically set up for a Nintendo Switch to be played on a 16:9 monitor. When it comes to the vertical games, like Halley's Comet, for instance, we're going to stretch the screen because it's just way too narrow on this Arcade1Up monitor. This isn't a 16:9 monitor, but we're not going to stretch it to completely fill up the screen, because then that's going to take this game completely out of its aspect ratio you should play it on, and it's going to look really, really weird. Here we have it stretched to, it's taken up, what, about 75% of the screen here, and the game looks and plays great this way. Which, by the way, when you play compilations like this, curated collections of games, sometimes you'll find games that you've never really given a good chance or had a chance to play, or things like that. And I gotta tell you, man, I've become a big fan of this Halley's Comet game after owning this collection. Now, I will have a link in the video description below for my original product review and tutorial and setup for an Intec Gaming Control Panel in an Arcade1Up cabinet, if this is something you want to pursue that you haven't pursued yet. Taking a look at the actual cartridge itself and all the different options included, as you can see here, we could adjust having the display frame turned on or off if you want. You could alter the display size. You could alter having that background wallpaper turned on or off, and things like that. And when it comes to the screen filter, man, they got a lot of options here. They got about 8 different options of different scan line settings that you could set, so they could be really light or really deep. In my personal opinion, I just like having the scan lines turned off. I think the games look fine, pixel perfect, and nice and sharp and crisp on these Arcade1Up monitors, as well as on my television set and my computer PC monitors. Each individual game also has its own game settings or dip switch settings, so if you wanted to change and tailor the gameplay experience to suit your needs, you can do that. You could also check all the different button settings. All the games have online leaderboards, online rankings, which is really cool as well. See if you can become the best in the world at playing these games. Overall, I think this is a very well-produced, curated collection of Taito classics, 10 arcade classic games. A couple of the games aren't the best games. Like, for instance, I'm not a huge fan of, like, the Wild West game. And I'm not a huge fan of Alpine Ski. They're playable, but they just haven't aged so well. But when it comes to like Chack and Pop, Fairyland Story, Ninja Warriors, Kicks, Elevator Action, Haley's Comment, these games definitely are still very much playable in my opinion and very enjoyable. And the emulation, of course, this is all approved by Nintendo, guys. All the emulation, everything is working really, really good on here. No complaints. For the rest of the video here, I'm going to just show you some gameplay footage. Amazon links to order this collection are in the video description below.